Hello, my dear friends. Hello, my dear listeners. How are you all? I hope you are doing your best in your own situation and you are doing everything, whatever you can do within your limits with utmost honesty and love. So, let's start the next part of the journey which we are going through for several weeks into the life of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansa Dev. Referring to the different ways in which the Kundalini rises to the brain, the master often said, well, that which rises to the brain with a tingling sensation does not always follow the same kind of movement. The scriptures speak of its having five kinds of motion. First, the ant like motion. One feels a slow creeping sensation from the feet upward, like a row of ants creeping on with food in their mouth. When it reaches the head, the sadhaka falls into samadhi. Second, the frog like motion. Just as frog makes two or three short jumps in quick succession and then stops for a while to proceed again in the same way, so something is felt advancing from the feet to the brain. When this reaches the brain, the mind goes into samadhi. Third, the serpentine motion. A snakes lie quietly, straight or coiled up, but as soon as they find a victim or are frightened, they run in a zigzag motion. In like manner, the coiled up power rushes to the head, and this produces samadhi. Fourth, the bird like motion. Just as birds in their flight from one place to another take to their wings and fly, sometimes a little high and sometimes low, but never stop till they reach their destination, so that power reaches the brain and samadhi ensues. Fifth and last, the monkey like motion. As monkeys going from one tree to another take a leaf from one branch to another and thus clear the distance in two or three bounds. So the yogis feels the kundalini go to the brain and produce a trance. These experiences he would explain at other times from the Vedantic standpoint as follows. The Vedanta speaks of seven planes, in all of which the sadhaka has a particular kind of vision. The human mind has a natural tendency to confine its activities to the three lower centers, the highest being opposite the navel, and therefore is contained with the satisfaction of the common appetites such as eating and so forth. But when it reaches the fourth center, that is the one opposite the heart, the man sees a divine effulgence. From this state, however, he often lapses back to the three lower centers. When the mind comes to the fifth center, opposite the throat, the sadhaka cannot speak of anything but God. While I was in this state, I would feel as though struck violently on the head if anybody spoke of worldly topics before me. I would hide myself in the Panchavati where I was safe. I would fly at the sight of worldly minded people, and relatives appeared to me like a yawning chasm from which there was no escape if I once failed. I felt suffocated in their presence, almost to the point of death, and would be relieved only when I left them. Even from this position, a man may slip down, so he has to be on his guard. But he is above all fear when his mind reaches the sixth center. Opposite the junction of the eyebrows, he gets the vision of the Paramatman and remains always in Samadhi. There is only a thin transparent veil between this and the Sahasrasara or the highest center. He is then so near the Paramatman that he imagines he is merged in him, but really he is not. From this state, the mind can come down to the fifth or at the most to the fourth center, but not below that. The ordinary sadhakas, classed as jivas, cannot come down from this state. After remaining constantly in samadhi for 21 days, they break that thin veil and become one with the Lord forever. This eternal union of the Jiva and the Paramatman in the Sahasrasara is known as going into the seventh plane. Sri Ramakrishna also saw the ultimate cause of the universe as a large luminous triangle which was giving birth every moment to an infinite number of universes. He often heard the Anahata, a great Solomon sound like the Om, produced by the conglomeration of the infinite variety of sounds in the universe. Some say that they heard from the Master himself that he could understand at this time the language of beasts and birds. As an added result of his spiritual realization, he had free use of the eight siddhis or supernatural powers which make man a god, almost omnipotent. But the mother showed him in a vision that for a real devotee these powers were worthless. From that time, he always thought of them with repugnance and used to warn his devotees against them. It was at this time that he had a vision of the Divine Mother, the incredible way in which the Lord brings about the projection, perseveration, and dissolution of the universe. He saw a woman of exquisite beauty ascend from the Ganges and slowly approach the Panchavati. Presently, he noticed that she was about to be a mother. In a short time, she gave birth to a lovely child and was nursing the babe with the utmost tenderness. A moment later, he observed that she was no longer tender but had assumed a terrible aspect. She put the child between her green jaws and crushed it to pieces. Swallowing it, she again hid herself in the Ganges. This is the way the divine enchanter hypnotizes the world again and again with the phenomena of birth, growth, and death, and it perceives not him who befools it with this never ending game. He also saw innumerable goddesses. Some of them talked to him and advised him in various ways. He used to say that though all of them possessed exceptional beauty, yet Shoroshi or Rajeshwari surpassed all others in loveliness. As a result of his success in the Tantrika practices, he became like a child. He could not keep on the wearing clothes or even the sacred thread. In spite of him, they would drop off. For some years from now, his complexion was so beautiful that he attracted attention everywhere. He used to wear a gold amulet on his arm, and it would hardly be distinguished from the golden color of his body. Sri Ramakrishna himself said, people used to stare at the loveliness of this form. The chest and face were always flushed, and the whole body seemed to be luminous. To escape public notice, I had to wrap a stout sheet round my body. I prayed to Mother, take back thy outward beauty, Mother, and give me instead thy inner beauty and purity of the spirit. I used to stroke the body and repeat, dive inward. After a long time, the exterior became dull as it is now. The revelation came to him about this time that later on many devotees would seek his guidance in spiritual matters. He spoke about this to Mathur, Hriday, and others. Mathur rejoiced and said, very well, we shall all be happy in your company. The most remarkable feature about Sri Ramakrishna's Tantrika sadhana is that he attained perfection in every course in an incredibly short time, 3 days being sufficient. Needless to say, it was because he had already realized the mother of the universe that all subsequent sadhanas became so easy. It was like the case of a master musician who feels himself at home no matter how difficult is the music he is called upon to play. Not only was Sri Ramakrishna's perfection in this sadhana unique and unprecedented, but it is also to him that the restoration of the purity of the ancient tantric practices was due. Therein lay his greatness. So, stopping here, we will start the journey in the life of Sri Ramakrishna Paramhansa Dev again in the next week with a new chapter, with the beginning of a new chapter. Till then, please be happy, please be jolly, please be honest to your duty, and please keep on praying. So, with this good wish, today I am saying you Shubhamastu.